back to the goss.ie countdown show. We're live! Yes! We're live in a real venue. We are so excited. And I want to start off by saying a special thank you to Shein Ireland, who are our sponsors tonight, they are committed to making the beauty of fashion accessible to all. And all the ladies you're going to see on the panel tonight are wearing Shein as well. We have all the links over on the Goss page and on the Shein Ireland page as well. And also a big thank you to our drinks partner tonight, DeSorno, who have everyone having lovely summer drinks. And also, if you're interested in buying some Shein bits yourself, we have a Goss discount code tonight. It's GOSS15 for 15% off site-wide, and that lasts until August 5th. Now, it has been a season of ups and downs, mad moves, head turns, crawling on the terraces, Titgate. There's so much to get through tonight. So we are going to be breaking down such an exciting season with some amazing people. Firstly, you know who we have here tonight? Love Island 2020 winners, Paige and Finn. So excited. And we have Love Island 2021 star, Liberty Poole, the ultimate girls girl. I'm so excited. We also have some exclusive interviews with this season's contestants, including Billy Brown, Coco Lodge, and Jack Keating. But before we get to all our guests, another very important guest tonight, Goss.ie editor-in-chief, Kendra Becker's here. Now, Kendra, you're an ultimate Love Island stan. You've seen more seasons than I have. I want to know from you straight off the bat, how do you mark this season out of 10? How was it for you?
I think it was a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Now, around the time of Casa Amor and Adam Collard being a bombshell, which was like the most unreal thing ever, I think I was literally like, this is the best season in a long, long time. But I think, and this could be controversial, when Jacques left, it kind of went,
it dipped
a little bit.
Yeah.
And we all love a bit of drama. We love a little bit of chaos, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it got a bit too nicey in there.
Now, I do feel like you say this every year when the couples are getting on. Kendra's like,
yeah, I'm like, here we go again.
It's crap. So is that the thing that maybe when they start get a bit more settled, it's just hard to feel the entertainment? It's not as dramatic anymore.
I think, like, you know, towards the end, it always does kind of get a bit, you know, like, and like they're all loved up, which is lovely. It's Love Island.
Now, we have so many points to go through, but we have to actually talk about the episode with the parents, because I think that might have been one of the most dramatic parent episodes ever.
Yeah.
Dami got grilled. Paige's
mum, love India's mum.
Love India's mum.
Icon.
Paige's mum saying she didn't buy it from Adam. Like, there were some very harsh comments, wasn't there, from the parents this year?
And you could see Paige's face. She was like, oh.
She was really surprised.
She was really surprised. So yeah, I think it was because normally they go in, they're like, oh, you're getting on great, but they really showed, because like some of them asked like, how am I being perceived and stuff. Normally they don't show that.
There was a lot of differences this year, and actually Coco Lodge said after she came out of the villa that people were using their phones under the sheets to tell each other how many followers they had, who was being talked about the most in the newspaper. So it's definitely getting to another level now, I think, where you can't hide from the fame of it. It's just coming up all the time.
I think there must be there's some sort of difference, even with like the Islanders that are coming out this year. A lot more of them are doing interviews, and like they're kind of spilling more. Yeah, great for me. But they're kind of spilling more secrets about the show, whereas before they'd kind of be like, oh, you know, like producers
I think
don't get that involved.
Are supporting that though, because a lot of them are on TikTok very openly saying this is what we do on our days off. And we're going to be asking Paige and Finn and Liberty because I want to know more. But what goes on in their off days, things like that. So they must be supporting it in some way. Now, there's so many points to get through tonight, but I want to start off when the show began. I feel like one of the main storylines was, this is the Gemma Owen show, and people gave out that she got so much airtime. So what did you think about her journey at the beginning?
The Love Island producers knew what they were doing by putting Michael Owen's daughter in there. You know, like it's obviously going to be a topic. I think she kind of got dragged a bit at the start, which I thought was, and I think the same thing happened to Amber Gill, where her humour is kind of dry, and a lot of people don't really get that.
And can we just remember, she's 19 years old.
She's 19. So
she got a really hard time, and she doesn't create the storylines. The producers were very much putting her at the forefront. And what kind of kicked it all off, I think, is when Liam left the show. I mean, that has to be the quickest person to ever leave Love Island, was it?
And I think it's really interesting, and he only did his first interview the other day, like properly talking about why he left. And I think it was really interesting what he said. He said he basically just couldn't handle being on a TV show. He said he really struggled to deal with the amount of cameras around. He was like, you know, like they are kind of hidden, but they're very visible, and you can hear cameramen in the bushes.
After Sun last night, they did a little quiz, and they said that there's 78 cameras inside the villa, which is a lot.
Yeah, and he even said, like, when you go on dates, there's a crew of like 25 people watching you. So it's like very intense. And he just said he couldn't really deal with that. And I really respect that, because a lot of people sign up for Love Island and it's all about, you know, like you'll get your, you know, PLT deal or like something like that afterwards. But I think it's really important that someone came out and said, like, look, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, it's actually
and like
really
he
hard.
said, like, I actually just struggled and I just left.
So when Liam left the show, it did pave way for more drama, and I think probably one of the most dramatic things to happen in the history of Love Island is that an ex got sent into the villa, which was Jacques. Now Jacques ended up having his own drama in other ways, but what did you think of that decision? I mean, I actually thought that was a bit harsh. Gemma is so young and she had to sit there and watch her recent enough ex go on dates with all the girls.
Yeah, like it kind of makes you question, like, did she have an idea? I don't know. But yeah, it was really interesting the fact that they did that. Like, they've never done that before, you know. It's not X on the beach, like, you know. So I really liked that they did that, and I think that kind of contributed to the series being so good. Now, obviously, we have to talk about the fact that Jacques left. And I think, and I kind of want to say this because I think this is kind of what messed up the timeline of the show. Because it was going so well, and like Casa Amor was unbelievable. It was the most dramatic thing ever. So many people recoupled. Like, I was shook. And then Adam Collard was obviously announced as a bombshell, which everyone was like, oh my God, because it's something they've never done before. And then he came in, and obviously the situation was he liked Paige, and then I think Jacques had been having his issues behind the scenes anyway. I think Adam kind of, obviously that whole situation pushed him a bit further, but I think he was struggling anyway.
So do you think there wasn't enough heat around Adam coming in the end?
Yeah, so I think, I think by Jacques leaving, the excitement of Adam Collard coming in and being a bombshell and being classic bad boy, I'm going to steal your girl kind of thing, it kind of just ruined it, because then he just got Paige.
Have a word then and go, right, you need to calm it down, because like you said, it was very hard to watch Jacques leave, and I was not a Jacques fan. I'm still not a Jacques fan. But seeing him break down with Luca, actually, in particular, that
so
scene
emotional.
of the two guys crying, you really were like, right, whatever you think of him, he's actually going through something. And he said, obviously, when he came out of the villa, that he actually had left the night before, and producers convinced him to come back. The man obviously really did not want to be there.
And I think props to him for, you know, deciding that it wasn't right for him and that he wanted to leave. And I think it's really important. And I think it's a really important message as well, like guys, you know, talking about their feelings and stuff like that. And we've seen that a lot on the show. I know Luca kind of does a bit too much, like leave it out.
Because people, I think Love Island gets a bad rap, you know, or a bad rep, that like basically it shows chauvinistic relationships or like gaslighting. But I think it's actually really good that young people are watching and they're going, actually, that's not okay. You know, and Liberty in particular, when we're chatting to her later, I thought, you know, her season with the whole situation with Jake, like for a young woman to see that a girl is able to have the strength to leave, like I actually think it's so important to show those lines. So I think the whole Paige Jacques thing was actually a really important storyline. But I do agree, it dimmed the Adam thing a bit. I don't believe Adam for a second. I believe Paige's mom, who said she doesn't buy it. Still don't buy it. Before we let you go and we move on, we have to talk about Casa Amor. Because it wasn't it the most dramatic recoupling this year?
Oh my God,
have as many couples ever recoupled in the history of Love Island?
I don't think so.
And it was so funny because you'd see someone, you'd be like, oh no, she's gonna be heartbroken. Oh no, she's coming in with a guy. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm sorry, the tension between Dami and India, even though they both came back with people, but they were like, I was like, oh my God, it was insane.
It was what was the most shocking moment for you in the Casa recoupling?
Oh, I think maybe the Dami and India situation, because I actually thought India was going to come back single.
And
I didn't think she would bring Deji.
And they were still
and they're
so
both
annoyed.
like, how dare you?
Now, obviously, for me, one of the most dramatic moments out of Casa Amor was kind of what happened post Casa Amor, but Coco and Andrew, and we were chatting to Coco later on in the show, Titgate.
I licked a tit or whatever.
Licked a tit or whatever. I was like, excuse me,
is
this like
that was definitely the most meme-worthy moment of the series.
Now,
definitely.
Before we let you go, so so many things to talk about, but we have our final couples now tonight, okay? So it's Ekin-Su and Davide, we have Tasha and Andrew, India and Dami, and we have Gemma and Luca. So who do you think out of all them, I suppose, have had the most intense journey?
Ekin-Su and Davide. Obviously, they are my winners in my eyes. I think they're just so entertaining. And I think obviously there's been a lot of talk about Ekin being an actress and all that stuff, but I do genuinely
think... You have to say it like Davide. She's an actress. That has to be it.
I do genuinely think that she is mad about him, and I think he's mad about her.
Sorry, their date was iconic. That's the best Love Island date I've ever seen. It was so good.
Oh my God, I was bawling my eyes out. Like, I think that was one of my favourite moments from the season, 100%. And then in terms of drama, Casa Amor.
Yeah, like what was your high point and your low point? Is in the moment you were like, oh, that's so sweet, and the moment you were devastated?
Davide and Ekin State, obviously. I just think that
was the
like,
high point?
Yeah, high point. And then I think seeing Jacques leave,
Yeah,
I think
I'd
that
agree
was
with you.
obviously like I don't agree with his.
I shed a few tears.
Yeah, like it was really sad, and I know like, you know, he was a bit of an arsehole. Like let's just say it, but. Yeah. I think it was really emotional seeing him leave, and he was genuinely so upset, and you could see that he was really, really struggling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a tough watch. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, right now later on we're all going to be giving our predictions of who we think is going to win tonight. But before we get to that, it's time to talk to our very own Jack Keating. He learned that life is truly a roller coaster after his Casa Amor journey. So take a look at the exclusive interview we did with Jack earlier today. So definitely life in the villa this year was a roller coaster, and one person who knows that for sure is Jack Keating. Jack, how are you?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Now I have to say that might have been one of the most iconic lines of the show when Ekin pulled you and said, "Life is a roller coaster." So, did you?
So many people have been saying it in every episode as well. Like I was like, Dad, you can thank me for this now for going in because the name of your song has actually been memed, like, which is great.
That song needs to be going straight up on the charts again. So yeah, we just wanted to chat to you, I suppose, about the whole experience. So tell us how it started. So we know that you applied for the show. So tell us, why did you apply? What were you thinking?
Why did I apply? Basically, like I've said it before, if you asked me to do Love Island like a year ago or even 6 months ago, I would have told you you're crazy. Like I literally never would have been a bit of me. Obviously, my sister got approached to do it last year and this year, but she said no. So I was basically just like, why not? You know, if I look back in 10 years' time and I never did it, I'd actually like hate myself for it. So I thought, take the opportunity while I still can, pretty much.
And tell us how the whole experience was, because I know you said in an interview with us, actually exclusively, that you were meant to go into the villa a little bit sooner. So how does that all happen? Are you literally waiting in that extra villa being like, right, when am I going in?
No, thankfully that does happen to a few people. I know Josh and George rang me being like, yeah, you're going to put you in Casa Amor now and you're not going to fly out for another 2 weeks. So it's a very, like, the producers tell you all this time. It's a very fluid show. Like, so you don't know if you're actually going to make it into the villa till you're pretty much walking in there that day.
And how is your feeling about going into Casa Amor? Because I definitely think when you're in Casa Amor, you have to make a huge splash. You're trying to break up a relationship. It's a lot on your shoulders.
Literally, it was definitely a change in mindsets. Like from being a bombshell, like you kind of have a bit more time. You go in there, you kind of get to chat to all the girls one-on-one a bit more. With Casa, it's like you said, it's a lot more full on. You got to shoot your shot a little bit harder. Like, so no, definitely it was definitely a change of mindset for me, big time.
Now I have to ask, what did your parents think of this? Because obviously Yvonne and Ronan, they're both heavily in the industry. They have been for a long time. Were they a bit, maybe you shouldn't go in, or were they like, let's go for it?
No, they never had any like bad things to say about it. Like they were excited for me. They were proud of me for doing it. Like my mom's a big fan of the show already. Like, so she was like absolutely buzzing when I told her. My dad was probably a bit more cautious about it, like obviously because he knows what it's like. So he was obviously filling me in, giving me lots of different advice on like, I mean, dinners became like marketing meetings. Like it was hilarious, some of the stuff we were talking about.
Now, obviously what didn't come up in these marketing meetings is that your dad isn't retired. I think a lot of people loved that tweet. We need to talk this through. So you're having your chat with Gemma Owen, which we'll talk to about in a second as well. She's talking about her dad. She asks who your dad is, and you say that he's retired. What made you think that? Because he's still on tour, right?
Basically, what I meant, I obviously didn't come across on TV, but what I meant to say was he was retired from Boyzone, but he's touring right now at the moment. Like, but I just, from whatever I said, however it came out, it just didn't sound right.
Did you get in trouble now when you came out of the villa?
It was the first thing he said to me on the phone when I rang him, when I told him I got like pretty much dumped. He was like, I almost fell out of my chair when he said I was retired. I was like, oh, jeez.
I do think, though, when he came on social and corrected it, he probably got a few more ticket sales, so it's not too bad.
Big time. I mean, I tried my best to plug it as much as possible, like, so he's definitely got to thank me for that.
So we need to chat to you now about your actual romantic journey. I know it was a short one, but when you went into Casa Amor, we obviously saw a lot of screen time with Gemma. Who did you actually have your eyes on? Like, who did you actually want to get to the villa with?
Well, like when you're in holding like those 2 weeks, like you're pretty much, your chaperone that's with you is asking who's your top three every night, like so they can relay it into the show. I mean, my top three was usually like Paige, Danica, and Antigone until she got dumped as well. Like, but no, I mean, Gemma, like just from watching the show, I kind of knew her and Luke were a bit of a done deal. Like, so obviously we had the chats together. I had a good vibe with her, like friendship wise. She's a lovely girl, but I kind of knew going in there it was kind of like it was a bit of a dead end with her. But no, definitely Paige. I got on really well with Paige, Tasha in there. They'd probably be the two girls I vibed with the most, I'd say.
Now, obviously, we're at the final tonight, and you've met all of the girls. So, who would you say is the realest out of the girls? I mean, you did get some good time with them.
Realist? Oh, they're all real. Like, I mean, I wouldn't. People ask me who do I think is putting on a show. No, nobody. Like, I mean, everybody's being genuine in there. I think all the girls are great. Like, I really do hope. I think, to be honest, I think Ekin and Davide are going to win, but I literally have no idea. Like, I could be any of them.
And I have to ask, do you have any regrets about the show? Is there anything you wish you'd done differently? If you could go in again tomorrow, would there be anything you'd change?
Wouldn't say regrets, kind of just like if I knew, because like people tell you all the time, Casa, you've such little time in there, like don't take the time for granted, just go get stuck in. I feel like if I did do it again, I would be like, right, let me just go even move a bit faster. Like, but like in my day, like the way I am with like girls and dating on the outside world is I don't move as fast as I do as you have to do in Casa Amor. Like, so that was definitely a bit of a shock. So if I could go back and do it again, probably just ramp it up a little bit more.
And I have to ask before we let you go, have you had any famous people sliding into those DMs? Because it always happens when you come out of Love Island.
I wouldn't say like famous. Like you have a few blue ticks that slide in and stuff like that, but like no one that's like famous. Like, I mean, there's been a couple of people who I've been chatting to and stuff, which has been nice. But not anyone that's pretty noteworthy, I'd say.
And just as we're letting you go now, let us know what's coming up next for you. What are your plans? Will we see you on Dancing with the Stars? Are you going to hang up your reality TV boots? What's the plan?
I don't know. I feel like my dance partner would have their work cut out for me if I was doing Dancing with the Stars, like a big time. I literally have two left feet. But no, I definitely want to do some more TV. I might have another TV show lined up in the next couple of weeks I'm going to find out about. Other than that, I'm just going to do like a bit of content creation, Instagram, TikTok, just going to try to ride the wave for as long as possible.
Wow. Well, look, thank you so much, Jack, for joining us. We loved you on the show and we wish you could have stayed longer, and we hope to see you on our screen soon.
Big time. Yeah. Fingers crossed. I'll be back in action for sure.
Thanks so much, Jack.
No worries. Thank you.
Hey guys, we are back and now we are joined by Love Island 2020 winners, Paige and Finn! Straight from Mallorca last night for the final after sun of the season. How are you both?
Oh, very good. Tired? Yeah.
Tired.
We didn't get much sleep last night, but...
I have to ask, so this time too, I know it's a different time of year, it's winter Love Island, but on your final day, tell us what actually happens. Were you able to see each other? What was going on the last day before the finale?
So we get transferred to a hotel, so they're getting the villa sorted and all decorated and stuff, what you see, on the show. So we got transferred to a hotel where I had to stay in a room with Ched, and you were with Jess, weren't you? And they'd get a masseuse in, and me and Ched had a massage.
May I add, the girls didn't get masseuse,
yeah.
just the guys.
But you got your nails done and that.
No, we just Netflix.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we just put Netflix on.
Me and Ched were just massaging each other.
And at this point, were you allowed to talk about the show? Because the whole way through, right, on your days off, tell me this if I'm wrong, you're not allowed to talk about the show.
No.
By this point, though, we were kind of like, done talking about the show. Do you know we had what 6 or 7 weeks of just who do you fancy and who do you fancy?
Yeah.
So by this point we were like,
we don't actually care anymore.
So I loved your Love Island journey. I was actually watching back your clips and I was getting so emotional. I was like, I think you are literally one of the best winners the show has ever had, because you can see from the beginning it was so true. There were ups and downs, but you handled them all so well. So I want to start off by talking about you, Finn, because when you came in, you were a bombshell. So did you actually think there was any chance you were genuinely going to find love? Because some of the bombshells come in just to stir things up and have a bit of fun.
There was no, like, I applied for that show because it was Love Island.
Yeah.
I think if anyone says they applied for that show to go and find love, they're lying. They didn't.
Yeah.
So I'd had a few beers at work and I applied. So I genuinely, the only outcome that I didn't expect or prepare for was the one that happened, which was actually finding someone and then going on and being in there the full time. So yeah, I was taken back and I was not expecting it at all, but
I've still never seen your audition video, by the way.
Oh
so it's on my camera roll, and honestly, I would never. Basically,
are you a few beers in now as well?
No, so this is now 3 weeks later. I'd stopped applying because they'd asked for this video, and I said I'm not doing this on the train home from London. Like everyone will look at me and think, what is this guy doing? So I waited about 3 weeks, and then I saw an ex-Islanders post on Instagram, and I thought, oh God, I've still got that to do. And luckily I was home alone, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. And I went upstairs, I was in my boxers, I just put a t-shirt on, and it was like a selfie, and I was just like,
what girls?
We need to see this video.
No, it would never be, like, my pals, my family, no one has ever seen this video. I should really just delete it.
I'm like, you should delete it. And then with you, Paige, obviously you weren't having the best time when Finn came in. So were you at the point where you were like, maybe this Love Island journey is going to end for me? Like, did you expect Finn to come in and literally sweep you off your feet?
No, for like the first 3 or 4 days, I found the full experience like really, really overwhelming. I can remember saying to you, I would go into the toilet and like stare at myself in the mirror and go, this is just not for me. Because you're thrown into a house with strangers, you're having to like share a bed, you're conscious that you're mic'd up, there's cameras. It is overwhelming. And then obviously I was with Ollie initially. And bless him, nice guy, but we were just...
It wasn't working.
No, we were just two very different people.
And how produced is the show, right? Because when I was looking back at your journey, there was a few little tips, nothing major, but I was wondering, do the producers get involved and say, bring that up now with Finn, or talk about that? Like, how involved are they?
They never tell you, like, what to say. Like, Finn, go and tell Paige this. They would never say that, but they're very good at building the suspense and the tension. So, for example, Paige went on the date with Luke M, and I have made it clear to the boys I wanted her to come up to me and tell me how it went, just so I was in the loop. The producers are very good at sort of keeping that suspense, so I don't get a full answer from you, so I don't know what's happening until the recoupling.
So you're getting more and more anxious.
Exactly.
They plant seeds. They're clever.
And is it true that there's a full 24-hour break before some of the recoupling? So you have no idea if your partner's going to choose you because you haven't talked?
Yeah, there has been some times. I think the big one for us was with when Luke M came in.
It was the whole day we didn't speak from the date until the recoupling. So yeah, good over 12 hours we didn't talk. I
did keep winking at you.
She did keep winking at me, but I just thought the way Paige is she's winking like, you're going home, son. Do you know what I mean?
Come on, do you like that?
There was a few phrases I loved from you guys, sticking it on you. We call it here getting the shift.
Getting the shift?
Yeah, getting the shift is the Irish phrase. But I was wondering about the fact that you have to pull each other for chats all the time, right? Is that, I mean, do you do that now? Are you pulling each other for chats after the show? Like, how awkward? How awkward is it that you're like, right, we better talk about this in front of millions of people now?
It's weird, isn't it?
I think I was pretty conscious of it to start off with, and I wasn't the best at speaking about my feelings anyway. So for the first week or two, I was like, oh, my friends are going to think, what a fucking loser. Can I swear?
Yeah, you can swear. You can swear.
What a loser. Do you know what I mean? She's on television telling him how much she fancies him. But you kind of quite quickly get used to it because that's all you're surrounded by. That's all you speak about when you're in there, really.
And obviously we were saying earlier on, this Casa Amor was so dramatic. Your recoupling was dramatic, but for all the right reasons. You were both so happy to see each other. And very quickly after that, then you asked Paige to basically be your girlfriend. So was the Casa Amor experience very intense? Like when you were away, were you both like, oh my God, I'm actually mad about this person. I hope she's there, standing there waiting for me.
It was the worst, like 5 days. I think it's shown like 3 or 4 episodes, but you're in there for 4 or 5 days.
And you both stayed outside. on the daybed.
It's
It's
bad.
so cute.
So bad. I tried to stay inside on the floor in the mattress, like get a mattress onto the floor, so I wasn't staying with anyone. But the producers said like, no, health and safety, you can't do that. So I was like, right,
Also,
okay.
the beds,
so I went outside.
I don't know if I should say this, the beds in Casa Amor are smaller.
Oh yeah, they're smaller.
To get
And
you
the cast
closer
more
together.
together.
Oh my God,
Right.
the drama.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then before we go on to this season, I wanted to chat to you about your love declaration, because honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a more emotional love declaration. Do you guys remember Finn's? Like, it was so emotional. You were taken aback, Vera was taken aback. You admitted earlier you've rewatched the show like 5
I've
times.
rewatched the show about 5 or 6
So
times, yeah.
how did you get that together? Like, how did you even know what to say? Were you helped, or were you just like, right, this is how I genuinely feel?
So for the full day, that day on the build-up, you girls went out to like a spa, didn't you?
Yeah.
And the boys stayed in the villa, so we literally just sat in the bedroom, like the producers with you. So it wasn't being filmed or anything. You were just sat having chill time, and you was writing your declarations. I mean, I did write 3 pages long of the speech, but obviously in the edit, it's only like. And luckily they put the good bits in.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Because there was some bits that were a bit dodgy, so they actually just put the good bits in.
I'd say there was lads at home like waiting to propose to their girlfriends, shaking in their boots, being like, right, throwing my speech out. Like, it was just so good.
We've actually got it in a frame, don't we? The little cards in our, I mean, it's in our bathroom. That's probably a bit
so
weird.
cute.
Oh, but it's to read whilst you're taking a shot.
And did you think you guys were actually going to win the show? Because I looked at the finale moment and you genuinely did look a bit shocked. Were you surprised?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think there was so many couples that was in there that, like Luke and Shanice, they had been going just as long as us, and that were really strong. But you just never ever thought that we would have won.
No.
And like, what's the secret to lasting? Because you're one of the only couples still going. I know there are some strong ones, but so many people within a year, like Millie and Liam just broke up from last season.
Yeah.
There really is so much more pressure than I think people realise. Like, you're going to clubs across the country, everyone's throwing themselves at you, everyone's in the DMs. Like, how do you guys still build that trust together?
Happy wife, happy life.
Just keep
Don't
her
annoy
happy.
me, yeah.
Communication is a massive thing.
Yeah.
Lockdown helped. Lockdown it's one of those, a lot of people when I first talk to them, they say how unfortunate it is because of lockdown was straight after, but for us it helped us because we just
Got closer.
I
I
just
think
carried on
trust
with
as
it.
well, because obviously there are going to be people who throw, well, girls,
Yeah.
who throw, you're a handsome boy, son. And I think, just having trust, that's a big
it's so
thing.
important. Right, we need to talk about this season. So were you guys properly glued to it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Obsessed.
I think it's been one of my favourite seasons.
Really?
Like, laughs, like tears.
So who are your favourite Islanders then?
Couple, Davide and Ekin
Yeah.
Davide is very funny. I don't think he'd be as funny if he didn't have an Italian accent though. Like if it was an English accent, I don't think his one-liners would. But no, I like Dami. I like Dami as well.
Yeah, I love Gemma. I like Gemma.
Like, what do we think of Luca and Gemma? Because if we were to look back on your season, like, you guys were so solid. A lot of people would maybe see them as a solid couple, but I don't know if they're going to last when they come out, to be honest. I think they're quite different.
I think Gemma's so mature for her age. Like,
Yeah.
see if I had to think about me going on there at 19, I would not be able to deal the things she has with such grace. And I think it is such a pressure cooker when you're in there. So you never know, Luca might come out and be like, wow, what was that?
Yeah.
You know, I did overreact.
And he's very possessive. I think it's very clear to see that. Like, it's funny when they're in the house like that. I don't think they realise that we can see everything that goes on. The little glances, the little looks. I don't know how that's going to go. Andrew and Tasha then, because I want to talk about all the finalists. Andrew and Tasha, what do you think of their journey? Do you believe Tasha? Do you believe the two of them?
I think they'll be one of the most likely couples to stay together.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I think so. Like the whole way through the show, they haven't looked like the strongest couple in there. Up until, say, the last few days where everyone seems to have taken a liking to them both now. But no, I look at them and go, they're definitely going to remain together the longest out of everyone there.
And then India and Dami.
Yeah. Do you know, I love them together. Dami, he did have his moment in...
Few moments.
Yeah. And Casa Amor. But I don't think he's going to get away with that. I think India's family...
She's well able to hold herself, isn't she?
Oh, God, yeah. And I think he's just need to, pull his socks up.
And when Jacques left, because obviously you were saying earlier on, like, it was such a moment of the show. Like, did you feel it for me? Like, actually, I kind of felt like that once or twice.
Yeah, definitely. When you're watching it, it is hard in there. Like, it's very emotional in there.
Yeah.
Your emotions are heightened. So when you do see someone like, Jacques break down like that, you just think, although he wasn't maybe being the nicest to Paige or this and that, you can't take that away from
he was going through something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not an excuse that he was doing it, but you do think like, God, it must have been proper getting to him. But he done the best thing just to get out of there rather than stay in there for the sake of it.
So before we let you go, what are your predictions? Who's going to win? I feel like I know what you're going to say, but who's going to win?
I think Ekin-Su and Davide.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Are you the same?
Yeah, everyone you ask, they'll say Ekin-Su and Davide, I think.
Well, let's give a big round of applause to Paige and Finn. So good to see you. Now, we've spoken about the most dramatic Casa Amor I think we've ever seen, and one of my favourite moments was post Casa Amor. It was Titgate. Next up, we have an exclusive interview with the one and only Coco Lodge. So Casa Amor this year was definitely one of the most dramatic Casa Amors we've ever had in Love Island history. And I think a big part of that is all down to Coco Lodge, who we're joined with now. Hi Coco, how are you?
Hi. Hi, I'm good. I apologise for my face. I'm in the middle of getting my makeup done.
Don't worry, you're going to be at the party tonight where I'm sure there's going to be lots of scandal, which we're dying to hear. So we're going to jump straight into it. We want to know, what was the Love Island experience like from the beginning? How did you get on the show? Did you know you were going to be going into Casa Amor?
So I got scouted for the show by ITV, and I basically went through the whole process, but I didn't know when I would be put in. And then they kind of told me that in May that I was going to be a bombshell. They don't tell you when, they just like, you can like fly out anywhere from the start of June. So I kind of, at first, it was kind of said that I would be like one of the first bombshells, and then it said I was going to be like the last bombshell, and then it got changed to Casa Amor. So I didn't know I was going to be Casa, but yeah, that's where it ended up.
Now, going into Casa Amor, you really have your work cut out for you because you need to break up a couple or you need to make a splash. So what was your mentality like going into the villa? Did you know, right, okay, this is game on now?
So my mentality going into the villa was like, you know, with Casa Amor, you have an assignment and you need to complete it. And so I kind of was a bit ruthless with like how I was when I first went in. Like I went in like gunning to make it back to the villa. However, then when I was in there, I actually got like genuine feelings for Andrew, and I said to him like, don't bring me back if I'm just going to be like a ball in your game kind of thing. But obviously I was still brought back as that. So really.
No. So we have to talk about the Andrew journey. So first of all, I remember in the episode where you guys came in, you all said something to Andrew about Tasha. We didn't really get to see what it was that you said. I think someone said she's playing a game, but what did you actually tell Andrew? Because it turned his head enough, like pretty much straight away.
So obviously what the girls, because I actually didn't say anything. I only said like one thing, that was that I think it could be like a convenience thing. But what they also didn't show me say is like, also it could be that she just feels really safe with you. And when you're 23, you actually want something which feels like super like fiery and exciting. And I think that she could have genuine feelings for you, but it's just different to what she's felt before with previous relationships. Like, because that's kind of the vibe I got watching it. But the other girls did kind of go in gunning, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't one of those ones, but because I ended up with Andrew, it looked like I was like the worst one, but I didn't actually say anything. But the girls basically just said exactly what Tasha said when she come in. They'd obviously watched the show and they'd seen in the beach hut that she'd said she doesn't really feel 100% herself with Andrew. That's all they said to him.
And do you think that's why there is a bit of tension with the girls? Because obviously recently I know you had to come out and almost defend Paige after you were saying that Paige actually didn't really warm up to you. But do you think that's why there might have been more tension in the villa, because the girls knew you had all basically warned Andrew off Tasha? Or why do you think there was tension?
I just think tensions were so high after that Casa Amor recoupling anyway. Obviously Paige was dealing with her own thing, and this is something which is kind of like bothering me now, because all of what's on TikTok, people have just clipped down everything I've said about her to make it look like I was like basically saying she was really nasty to me, and that's not what I've said at all. Like she wasn't. Everyone was a bit standoffish at first. She just happened to be the most, but I have said she was going through a lot with Jacques, and in the end we all ended up like close. But you know, after Casa, tensions are high. You've kind of come in with these girls, men, and it shouldn't be like it, because obviously you've all gone through the same process, so there should never be like that kind of like division. However, it was like that, and it's fine, because then we all ended up being friends in the end anyway.
That's so good. Now, we cannot talk to you without talking about Titgate. It's probably my favourite Love Island scandal ever. You know the saying, I've been there, bought the t-shirt. Like, I want a t-shirt that says, I licked her tit or whatever, because it's so iconic. Like, did you know that was going to be shown to us? Did you realise when you came out of the villa, everyone was going to be talking about that?
No. So when I was in there, they had said like, oh, you know, can you word this nicer, da da da. So I kind of just thought it wouldn't be in there because we'd still like been like shouting like sucking tits, like, you know, no one's business. So I didn't actually think it'd be shown. I thought, you know, Love Island's a bit different these days to like the earlier series, and it's probably a bit too much for them to show. So when I come out, I was like, oh, all right, okay. It happened, it was shown, and there's lots of memes about it, so brilliant.
And how involved are the producers? Because I know you're saying there they said to reword it a bit. Like, are there times where you wanted to say something and you were told you cannot say that, you need to do it differently? Like, how did that work?
That was the only time I was really like said that. I mean, I don't know about other people's experiences, but they didn't really get involved in my experience too much, apart from like trying to comfort me when I was upset. So like, they didn't really get involved with me too much. But I know like that things are said. It's a produced show at the end of the day, and they obviously they have some sort of word over how they want things to go, and they probably know from the beginning who they want in the final. Like, I'm sure that's a thing.
So before we ask you who you think is going to win tonight, I have to ask you as well, since you came out of the villa, you've been very open about the trolling, which I think we all know, especially this year, it's just gotten so insane, and you're coming out to a barrage of negativity. And I thought it was really great that you came out and you talked about it. How has the experience been since you left? Like, did you realise it was going to be this tough?
The last thing I ever expected was the amount of comments about my appearance. Like, I've never really like looked at myself in the mirror and thought these things that people were saying about me. So obviously that was really hard. I'm not even gonna like lie, like that really hurt, and that was actually one of the hardest things to deal with. But I'm kind of numb to those comments about my appearance now. I do get a lot of them now. I'm being trolled for like other stuff, like for apparently slagging off Paige, which I haven't. If you actually look at what I've said, I actually haven't. And other people have said the same stuff. So it's like, you can't win with these people, unfortunately. Like, the OGs have such a fan base, so you can't really like be honest without being trolled. And I'm still getting like comments under TikToks like, oh, why are you still posting about Love Island? You're so irrelevant. Like, Love Island's, you came out of Love Island ages ago. I'm like, it was 2 weeks.
I think you're so good though to keep going and keep pushing and just tell the haters to get lost.
I'm just like, these trolls are just next level this year, and it's so mad because when I look at their accounts, they're like 14-year-olds at school. It's like, who raised you?
Yeah, God, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I really hope it gets better. And I think just being out there and being strong, I think that's the way to go. Now, before you let you go, we just have to ask, who do you think is going to win tonight? Amazing. Well, look, Coco, thank you so much. You brought us so much entertainment this series, and I'm sure there's a lot more entertaining to come. So we really enjoyed chatting to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
And thanks again so much to our sponsor tonight, Sheen Ireland. Don't forget to use the discount code GOS15 for 15% off site-wide. Now, next up, I'm so excited to say that we have the lovely Love Island 2021 star, Liberty Poole. You look unreal as
Oh,
well.
what a better way to celebrate the Love Island finale than being in a room full of gorgeous girls and just,
This is what I was gonna. I literally have it down on my notes. The first sentence is, "You were the ultimate girls' girl on Love Island that I've ever seen." Like even looking back over your clips this week, every single girl in there literally were so devastated when you left. They were more devastated than if their boyfriends had left. Like they were so upset.
Yeah.
So I suppose, how did you keep that mentality throughout the whole experience? Because you were going through quite a lot, but you stayed so friendly with all the girls.
I just wanted to be happy for like everyone else's experience, and I come from a very like female-dominated family. Like I'm so close to my mom. My mom raised me as like a single mom. Like she didn't have a boyfriend for 12 years. I had to encourage her to go meet someone, and then she's like still with him, by the way, which is good. So it's her first boyfriend. But yeah, like it was. I just wanted to be happy for everyone else. It was hard because obviously I did want that fairy tale ending. Like I wanted that big, nice last date, and I was hearing everyone come in and about all their nice dates, and I didn't get that. But I would have rather walked away from that villa with my head held high and not have got that than act, because I cannot act. Like I tried it, it's not for me. Like I was literally in year 7, like trying out for school play, and I got told I looked constipated. And after that I was like,
You're like, I'm not doing this on Love Island.
No chance.
No.
Like I'm not looking constipated from the cameras on my final day.
We have to talk about the Jake storyline. I still call him Jake the Snake, just saying, never liked him. I think everyone at home was watching being like, no. I was rewatching the scene where you told the girls he said I loved you, and you could just see it on all the girls' faces. They were like, no. And Faye was like, I need to leave this situation. I can't tell you the truth.
I think every girl's been there. Like looking back on it from an outside perspective, I was like, Lib, come on now, girl. Do you know what I mean? But when you're in it and you've got feelings for someone, like you do just want to believe everything like that they're saying almost and that. But for me, like I was in like a toxic relationship for like 3 years and stuff, and when the energy started to feel off and it wasn't like the same anymore, I thought, you know what, I've done this before, I'm not doing it again. And I think that was the first time in my whole life that I've ever actually walked away from a situation.
I
and you guys got to see it, and now I've stick to the same thing. Like even if I've had like a mad connection with someone and they're not treating me right, I'd rather walk away, because I think whatever happens for a reason happens for a reason.
And
I think
what was the turning point? Because for us as viewers, I think we started to see a little change when movie night happened and he said he didn't want to jump you. I think something went off in your head. Or you wanted to like rip your clothes off. But I remember looking at you and something went in your head and you went, actually, this guy is not who I thought he was.
So there'd been like little red flags along the way that I sort of overlooked, because you do that naturally as you like someone. It's your honeymoon phase and you're getting on so well that you
flags everywhere and you're like,
red flags hit me in the face, and I was just like, whatever. But you do forget about them. And like I think Chloe said, like, Lib, you've got rose tinted glasses on, and I did have that. And there was just like little comments that just didn't sit right with me at the time, and almost made me feel like I wasn't attractive to him. Some little comments,
and you should never feel like that.
Yeah, and like I had to be better, and I didn't want that. I wanted someone just to like me for me, and I get that a lot. Like they'll be like, "Oh, Lib, like you're such a nice girl, but I'm gonna go elsewhere." But you've got to let that not knock your confidence, because I think it's a lot to do with them. And I think young girls these days, they'll be blaming themselves. I've done it before. I blame myself. Oh, he must not like me because of this. I do this. And now I've really just processed, no, I'm fine, you're just not the one for me. And that's a lesson.
And I remember the girls were saying, okay, you didn't find love, but you fell in love with yourself. And I was just like, I think so many girls at home are watching that being like, you know what, I'm going to tell that toxic guy that we're done. You know, because it was, especially for you, you could have, I know you're saying you can't act, but you could have stayed to the end.
Yeah, like I was like, I've always been like this bubbly girl and stuff, and like, when I was in that toxic relationship before, like I lost myself, I was crying a lot, and it just really wasn't me. And I feel like getting over that and getting back to my bubbly self and stuff, I didn't never want to lose that again. And I think like going through what I went through in there, I started to really like go in my shell, and I'm such an extrovert. Like probably
you knew it wasn't like you.
I can't stop talking to England literally. Like I'm too much, but like I feel like I was becoming introverted, and it just really wasn't me, and I wasn't happy, and I just I needed to go.
And I loved your quote, I know when I'm bringing to the table, I am the table.
I'm the flowers on the table.
You were everything on the table. I loved it. So tell me about your decision to leave the villa, because obviously Jacques left. So how was it for you watching Jacques, and what was the experience like for you when you decided to leave?
So first of all, like obviously our new Parents' Day was coming up, and my mother, she's a feisty one, and I think if she's seen me not being myself and
She'd
stuff,
been slapping you.
I mean it wasn't my great TV, but and also I remember him saying to me that like he'd dated girls before and they'd met his parents, and like then it hadn't worked out after, it'd been a waste, and I thought, I know that we're not right, so I don't don't want to meet his parents knowing that the energy's just so off. Like, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So in the end, like, that's what I chose to leave. And I think there was a moment, like, the night before where he was like, it was a build-up of a lot of little comments, but there was a moment the night before he was like, your messengers give me the ick, and then acted weird after, and the energy's just completely shifted, and like, little, like, digging and stuff, and I was just...
And did you just like go to the producers and went, you know what, guys, I'm actually going to leave?
Okay,
like, how does that happen?
This is what happens. So I said, I seen everyone coming back from their nice dates and saying what an amazing time they had. And I think these little things have been playing on my mind, but in that moment it clicked. And I was like, I'm not going to get that because I don't feel right. So I said, like, I'm going to, you know, I want to go. I just wanted to talk about it with someone, with the producer. And they were like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, just wait a second, we'll talk about it. But I literally had that much emotion, like, built up. Because like I said, it is a heightened experience in there. It's a heightened environment. I had that amount of emotion, like, built up that I just had to take myself outside. Silly me thought there was no cameras there.
Oh my God, that scene broke my heart.
Yeah,
You outside
honestly,
on
I
your
just
own.
let it all out because I didn't realise that there would be cameras there. I thought it'd be like maybe like an off-air moment, but no. You guys seen it all, but that was raw emotion. Like what you see in that moment, it wasn't scripted. That was just me letting it all out and thinking, I don't want to do this anymore. Like,
so you must have really understood when you saw Jack's episode. Did it bring it all back for you?
Yeah, it did, to be fair, because I think he's got to do the right thing by himself, and if that was the right thing for him to do, then that was the right thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Like, I had an amazing time there, and I don't regret anything, and I'm very lucky that I got to experience the majority of it, and I wouldn't change a thing. And unfortunately, he only got to experience half of it, but if that was the right time for him to leave,
he needed to leave.
Totally stand by it. Because you've got to put yourself first.
And we were chatting about this earlier. Obviously, the level of trolling and stuff has gone wild. Yeah. Were you surprised to come out to so much support?
You know what?
Like, you were literally the star of the show.
I'm so blessed and lucky because it's such a nice feeling just going in there, like, little old me, righteous Nando's, clumsy as anything. And I just went in there being myself and thinking whatever happens, happens. Yeah. And then, like, I come out and I got such a positive response, and it was such a nice feeling. Because, like, knowing that you've just been yourself and, like, getting that response, it was just such, like, a boost. And, you know what, it means the world to me because I have girls all the time come up to me saying, you helped me get through this. Like, I literally had the most emotional, like, moments with people saying, I broke up with my boyfriend, you've helped me get through this in some way. Or, like, my dad died, but your strength, like, even stuff like that, your strength helped me get through it. And, like, to me, that means more than going on the show, knowing that I've impacted people in that positive way, and I didn't even know that my actions were doing that. Yeah. So to have people physically tell me, like, you've impacted me, it honestly...
I think she impacted all of us, Love, didn't she?
I can't, yeah.
You really did. Everyone just really understood you in that moment. Yeah. We have to talk about this season, right? Because you've been glued, you've been running home to watch it at night.
I haven't even watched it like a passive Love Islander, I've been watching like a viewer. Like, I've been invested all the way.
Tell me who your favourite Love Islanders are then this season.
Okay, so I think from the start, I was really rooting for India and Dami to win. Yeah. Like, I loved them as a couple. And I feel like Dami let himself down in Casa. And then, as much as I love India, and I don't dislike Dami, I haven't been able to warm to him, like, the same way.
Since he came, yeah.
But, like, Ek and Di, honestly, from start to finish, I feel like they're such a dimensional couple. Yeah. They're like Romeo and Juliet of Love Island, like yin and yang. Like, we've had like tears, we've had laughter, we've had drama. We've got Davide and his iconic quotes. We've got Ek and Sue. She's like a ghost producer in there. It's amazing. Like, I really feel like they've brought it all. And even like Tasha and Andrew, I'm not gonna lie, like, I wasn't sure about them at the start. I was like, is this gonna work out? Is one of them gonna get their heads turned? But technically, I feel like Tasha got a lot of hate, but really, she was just keeping her options open, which is what you do in the real world.
She got so much hate, like too much hate, really. Like, she's already doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, I think she was just doing what she wanted to do, like exploring options, and it's brought her back to Andrew, and it's made them stronger, so you really do have to trust the process.
And what do you think of some of the comments that were made from the girls that have left the villa? So Coco Lodge, for example, she was saying that Paige wasn't actually that nice, and then she had to defend the comments again. I presume when everyone comes back from Casa, the girls are going to be a bit frosty anyway. It's your man, like, they're coming back for it.
I know, I feel like there's two sides to every story, and I do think there was a divide between the villa girls and also, you know, like the Casa girls. And to be honest, the only girl I actually seen reach out, like when Coco was crying, was Ek and Sue. Yeah. I didn't really see as much support from the other girls in there, to be honest.
And they were kind of mean to Ekin for a while, I thought, behind their back.
Yeah, I feel like,
I don't think there's been as much girl code this year. I do think it's been a little bit more people out for themselves. I don't think they're bad people, but I do feel like there hasn't been as much girl code.
And are you and Kaz still besties?
Yeah.
Because we love you and Kaz.
Yeah, honestly, we FaceTime each other all the time. Literally, we was each other's live support in there because I'll be honest, being in there, it can be a bit of like, when you're going through tough situations, it can be a bit of a mess of the minds and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was times where I was thinking, is this person saying this to me because they genuinely mean it? Or they saying this to me because they're playing the game and for the show. But she was the one person that I'd be like, yeah, whatever she's saying to me, 100% she's got my back.
So before we let you go, who do you think is going to win tonight?
Ooh, should I give that full prediction?
Yes, full prediction.
Okay, I think Ekin-Su and Davide.
Yeah.
Dami and India.
Okay.
Tasha and Andrew. And Gemma and Luca.
You think Gemma and Luca will be at the bottom?
I do. I just feel like haven't had as many tests, and I think like people like to see the journey and like, you know, them
the
going for the trial, the ups and downs, and they haven't had that as much. And I feel like I love Gemma. I think she's very strong. I think she says what she thinks. But I think we haven't seen so much nice sides to their relationship even. It's been very straight-faced. And
he was very mean to Tasha, I have to say. That changed my opinion on him and Dami. I feel like the producers pulled them in and were like, right, rein it in.
Yeah, but it's just like, just have a laugh, do you know what I mean? But
you're like, no, everyone's watching. There's millions of people watching you. Well, thanks so much, everyone. Give it up for Liberty Poole. Now, on to our final exclusive interview of the night. He's the cheeky chappy that turned Tasha's head, caused trouble with Gemma and Luca, and also kind of broke Tanika's heart, but we still love him anyway. We have an exclusive interview now with Billy Brown. So if you look up the definition of cheeky chappy, you will definitely see a picture of Billy Brown. He brought us so much entertainment, both in Casa Amor and in the villa this year, and we're so happy to be joined with him. Billy, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
We're good. We have so much to get through because I feel like you really left your mark on the villa. So talk me through your game plan, because I do think everyone has a game plan going into the villa. Where were you at in your head when you were walking in those lovely big doors?
So my game plan was sort of go with the flow, not sort of set my eye on one person, and, you know, like I said, lay foundations on all the girls in there. So for me, it was sort of like just start with one and just carry on and see who I have the best connection with. And obviously in Casa it ended up being Tasha. And then in the main villa it was obviously Danica. But yeah, we started off with Paige. That was just a friendship thing. And yeah, I think with that sort of side of things, you have to explore every sort of angle. So it was good.
And tell me about the holding villa, right? Because you guys get to watch the show. So are you all in there together, huddled around, watching what's going on? Or are you sitting in a room by yourself, watching the show to figure out what's actually happening in the villa?
No, so you quarantine for 10 days before you go in the villa. 5 days over phone, 5 days you don't. But obviously, you basically are in that villa with a chaperone, just you and a chaperone. So you're basically by yourself. And then every night you have to watch the episodes and catch up so you know what's going on and sort of, you know, give feedback on it and what you're thinking and, you know, who you're fancying, that sort of stuff. So it is a bit crazy.
So you had 3 romantic storylines, I feel, this year. Number 1 was Tasha. A bit of a surprise, I think, that people didn't know what was going to happen there, who you were going to be gravitating towards. So tell me about the Tasha romance. Did you think when you were going into Casa that you were going to go back to the villa with her, or did that come as a surprise to you?
Like, firstly, Tasha wouldn't have been my type. So, yeah, that's why I sort of went for Paige at first, because I usually go for brunettes. But like everyone says, I don't really have a type. Like, and that's what's made me find out. So it's like I had one conversation with Danica, a couple of the other girls, and I was feeling it. And then Tasha sort of surprised me on like the second, third day. And she sort of brought this bubbly side out in her. And I was sort of attracted to that. So from there, it sort of stemmed, and I was more sort of into Tasha than the other girls. And then when it comes to recoupling, it was quite nerve-wracking, to be fair, because you never know what they're going to do. So the power's in their hands. But yeah, she chose me, so it was all good.
And I heard that before the recouplings, you have about 24 hours where you're completely separated from the girls. Is that true?
So you get some down days. So you can't talk to the girls, and you can only talk to the guys, but not about villa life. So you can't say, oh, yeah, I'm feeling Tasha, or Tasha said this and that. Like, you can't say things like that. You just got to talk about the outside world.
Are you just like, oh, the weather is quite good today? What do you get to talk about? Like
cars, you talk about like just random stuff. Like you catch on people's lives.
Now we have to talk to you about the Gemma storyline, because I think that was another one that really surprised everyone. I feel like as soon as you got into the villa, your mind completely changed, your head completely turned. And I remember Gemma actually saying that she knew of you before she went on to Love Island. So did you know of her as well? And did you have a feeling that you two were just going to get on?
No, so she knows my best friend, and then when I got in there, I clocked it was sort of her, and I was just like, I've never met her before, but you know, when you have like a mutual friend, like you don't really know them, but you know of them. That's sort of what it was. But yeah, with Gemma, it was sort of like I didn't know where I'd get along or not with her, and we ended up sort of having a laugh, and the other islanders saw that as well. So for me, it was more so just go with the flow with Gemma and just have a laugh with it, and if it goes anywhere, it goes, but it didn't. So.
Now, I saw you did an interview recently, and two things you said really stood out to me. One was that Gemma got off lightly in the edit, and also things weren't shown on movie night that you really think should have been shown. So spill the tea. We want to know what was missing from movie night.
I think everyone on movie like got off lightly, because like even the lads and that, like you have talks before and you say, oh look, this might come up, that might come up, and I think especially with Tasha as well, like she got off well lightly. Like with me and her, like we had a chat after, and she was like, "Oh, that could have been worse," and it could have been so much worse. Like, but yeah, I think they've let them two off lightly. To be fair, especially Gemma as well. Like, there's a lot more.
Give us some tea. Give us one little exclusive.
I don't know.
You can trust us.
You maybe heard, but like the first word she said was like, "Pull me for a chat, like if you want to." Like that was her first sort of words to me, and I was like, "Okay." Do you know what I mean? I didn't really do it. And then when we got back into, well, before we went to the villa, I said to her, "Oh, I guarantee Luke will get annoyed within the first day that we're flirting." And like she was like, "Oh, do you reckon?" Like. Da, 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 da. And then she come up to me within about 2 hours and was like, yeah, he's already annoyed.
We could all see that. And then obviously as well, another big storyline for you was Danica, and I felt so bad for you that the final episode before you left was kind of this drama between the two of you. But do you now look back and think, I probably should have handled that situation differently? You know, making the comments about the salon being open when you weren't really into her that much?
No, yes and no. Like I think they've shown it differently. I haven't. I handled it how I thought I should have handled it. To be fair, because for me, a debrief, like if you go through the show, there's been boys, girls that have said everything in their debriefs, but they haven't got stick for it. Just because what happened, I'm getting stick for it. So I don't really agree with that. Yeah, maybe saying nothing's like better sometimes, which I agree with, but it's like double standards. She's allowed to go and tell. I didn't know. I watched it back now, and I didn't know she told two girls.